Let me pick it from where my brothers left the servant of the people. One is that I agree with him that Article 94 and 96 provides for the roles of the National Assembly and the Senate, including keeping the executive in check.
Yes.
Number two, it would be a fallacy to mislead the public and the esteemed viewers to say that the judicial processes have been exhausted. The only time my brother can say with finality that Maendeleo Chap Chap and Pamoja Africa Alliance, the PA, that have moved to court has been defeated, or they have not gotten orders of moving out of Azimio One Kenya Alliance, is when the tail end and the highest office or the apex is the Supreme Court. So that would now, we can come back and say the courts have declined, because you can't, if you have not existed all your appeal mechanisms.
Yes.
Number two is talking about coalition political party. Him and me know that the only people who vied under coalition political party was Raila Odinga, even in their ballot paper. But he vied under ODM, and he was elected in ODM. When you go to register of political parties, he is in a coalition called Azimio One Kenya Alliance, but he is in ODM, just the way I'm in UDA, yes, but in a Kenya Kwanza coalition. But that one is not a coalition political party. So there should be a distinction between a political party, which is ODM, and coalition political party, which was registered only. And there is no one that there is no member of coalition political party called Kenya Kwanza or Azimio One Kenya Alliance. When you talk about the reading of the Constitution is read in whole. And he knows very well that even as you interpret the Constitution, let us allow the courts to take their time. And that is why I said, when you look at the supremacy of the Constitution, the fact that freedom of association was quoted by Senator Moses Wetangula, yes, is because he knows that the Constitution is supreme, beyond and above an ordinary legislation of Parliament. And that is why they talk about even cultural and traditions and repugnancy of customary law. And therefore, in all instances and purposes, when you look at the National Assembly and the Senate, the Azimio, or you would call them, for purposes of this conversation, Azimio or ODM or WIPA, forms the minority, both in the National and in the Senate. And they have agreed with that. Because, in fact, my brother Opio and I, unless he's new in Jerusalem, and you and everybody else who is watching this, most of these people, including Maendeleo Chap Chap, Pamoja Alliance Africa, yes, UDM, they have even on record, and even Senator Ali Roba of Mandera was on the floor of the Senate, and it is even in the answer, that he said most of them were being coerced to be in the coalition. This was not a coalition of the willing. It
wasn't voluntary.
It was not voluntarily, as my brother wants to assess. Unless where my brother was, he might have been misled that this was a coalition of the willing. Yet most of these people were being twisted, they were being emasculated to join Azimio One Kenya Alliance. And you know, most of them complained, even during campaign. There was a serious fight within Azimio political parties in terms of campaigning, in terms of even resources, even the issues of non-payment of agents, among other things. But I think that is water under the bridge. But the bottom line is that we should allow Kenyans to make the political choices.
Okay.
And I allowed the wisdom that Speaker Wetangula did, because in as much as the other processes are ongoing, and by the way, Azimio and Kenya Alliance have all the right to go to court. But they must be made aware that in the previous parliament, the nominee of AG, the former speaker, J.B. Muturi, even in one of his rulings, when he was talking about the whipping of members, specifically the whipping of then by NASA of a member of Kenya, David Ochieng, where he ruled that there is no other arm of government that can direct the other. Cite that there is no day that political parties registrar can direct parliament and tell them, yes, this is how it looks like. Right. It only informs in any decision that convenes and in terms of consideration.